everyone for joining this afternoon. I'm really pleased to meet with everyone because I've only joined BCN quite recently. And it's a very diverse group, and it's in Basel. We were at the Noon Bar, Amy, as I recall, where we actually met face-to-face for the first time, and the weather was beautiful that afternoon. So when I had the opportunity to talk here today, I was really excited. I think, as Marcus just mentioned, I think the topic of Zoom fatigue and what's going on, just to get a perspective on where things are going with hybrid, with digital interactivity. It's a brave new world, and I'm really looking forward to sharing some information today and having a really good discussion. First, let's say a little bit about myself. I've been in Basel for more than 30 years. I know that I only look 25, but no, it's true. I've been here for 30 years. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I founded a number of startups in informatics and life sciences. I'm also Australian, and my whole life I've been totally passionate about how it is a digital transformation can work in healthcare, specifically about adding value. I think technology for technology's sake has never really been something that floats my boat. I really like to think about how it is that we can use technology to really do something of value. I have my QR code there. If anyone wants to join in or to connect with me on LinkedIn, please, in the slide deck, feel free to do that. So with Antares Interactive, it was the same idea. I think that reaching out to people at congresses and reaching out to people to tell your message through technology is the way to go. We're very visual. Technology has taken on more and more of a central role in all of our lives. And so I put together the idea of being able to engage and wow your audience. Just that idea, engage and wow. And it's shifted a little bit from, well, probably quite radically, from the idea of focusing on internet channels and face-to-face interaction to now we're hybrid. I think the changes towards hybrid were always coming, but COVID essentially set off like a nuclear bomb, and we had to all adjust to that quite quickly. So what we provide is really a one-stop shop or an end-to-end for digital agency. We're in Basel and London. The team's in Basel, and we provide really quite unique interactive experiences, be that through 3D product demos, educational tools, 3D social gaming, mobile virtual and augmented reality. I'm sure everyone's heard about virtual and augmented reality experiences, which I think is very germane and a great way to communicate in healthcare. And 360 degrees IMAX-like interactive videos to be able to move around in a scene. The company's been running for just a little over 2 years. And the first year out, we became finalists in the Pharma Marketing Society with our Big Dragon, which I'll show a little bit of the Big Dragon later. And I think that sort of says by itself that we like to innovate. And that finalist thing was a big surprise to us, and we're very happy to receive it. When we're talking about engagement with people, we like to also think about the engagement loop, like we're the technologists and we're the business people, and understand how to get your message out. So we work always on the same way. We define what the brand and event objectives are. We then match the digital engagement using a funnel, an engagement funnel, to test the idea of what channel, what content's going to be the best to get the message out to your visitors, who hopefully will be wowed. And how do we know if they're wowed? Because all of our systems measure the response of visitors. They could measure your message against other messages, or they could measure the amount of time, a number of parameters that we can customize and get working for your message. And that helps the whole team, because then they can evolve their message, evolve how it is they're using a particular type of media to connect. The other thing today, which is absolutely essential for anyone that's in digital, I'm probably saying things which are obvious, but multi-channel engagement funnel. That's the key, because in healthcare in particular, there's a lot of trouble and a lot of effort in getting your content approved so you can get it out into any channel. So what we make available is the idea of interactive content being available for all of your channels. Could be that web portals is one part of it. Could be that seminars or e-detailing is another part of it. So your interactive content travels along with your audience and also your team if it's used in training throughout their journey. The team, I'll just give a quick call out. I think Carol's with us. I hope Manuel's with us here today. If you are, greetings, and they'll be available for any discussions following. We're local, and we do really boutique service only in Switzerland currently. We're just focusing on the Swiss market, and we really like to have close relationships with our clients. Okay, enough about me. Let's talk about COVID. Here's the first question. If it's a survey, it's going to come up for you to answer. And the current impact of COVID, what would you say for your next event or any future events would you physically expect to attend your events physically? I was at a think tank conference just this week in California where all the different aspects of hybrid and virtual congresses in the future were discussed. And they found that it's estimated that 80% of Congress event attendees, they're going to be virtual. 80%. It's a huge number. And you'd think, oh, well, the reason for this is, and that was what fascinated me, the reason for this is that, oh, people can't travel and people, no, it's not, that's not the driver. The driver is that face-to-face, people are rationalizing why have a face-to-face. That is a part of it for sure. Face-to-face is very important for deal making, for interacting in sales and marketing and promotions. That won't change. But the virtual congress and the virtual audience paradigm now has emerged. People think to themselves, well, maybe I'll just turn up for a day. Maybe I'll look at what's going on post-Congress. Maybe I'll look at what's going on before Congress. So the timeline's smeared out. And the budget saving is also a rationalization that companies can make. Do you need to go? Can you find the information you need in your virtual attendance of the Congress? So this is, in my opinion, this is the challenge that we share. Zoom and the technology is one part, but I think understanding how to engage with your virtual audiences in a hybrid setting, that is, at the moment, the numbers are in the virtual, but the value has to become equal. It has to be that both experiences are equally valuable. Otherwise, people won't turn up to the virtual ones, or you're going to have missed opportunities to really engage with these different audiences. So what are they expecting? I think that's a key question. And how can you optimize these and flatten out these experiences so the balls are the same size? And how can your online platform engage and wow your audiences? And probably the first question to ask is, who are your virtual audiences? And we work in healthcare, and I have used this study here about healthcare professionals. And there are a couple of interesting numbers. The first number is 2014. I don't know if everyone remembers what they were doing on their birthday in 2014, but in 2014, there was a tipping point between what they call digital natives, those who are always growing up with smartphones and always use computers, and the digital dinosaurs or the imports who had to learn it. And in 2014, that was 50%. And today, in 2020, it's 70%. So first thing to know is that your audience is much more online. They're going to spend a lot more hours online. They're going to be using their smartphones, and they're going to have a certain culture and interactivity, which should be included in any discussion about how it is that you want to engage with them in these virtual meetings. The other thing to think about is, what is everyone doing online? What are people doing? What is their mentality? And common expectations, and I've looked at a number of demographics to look at this in this key area, and we're probably included in this, well, probably not me, but certainly some of you, and that is that mobile access is a thing. Not only access, but there's rich interaction there. You find the information you want carefully, you have to click 10 times, you're out of there. Everyone's become used to the idea of instant personalized information. People don't like to wait. They look and want to see the information. Also, social engagement and is a very important part. People like to receive regular updates, and I don't think a day goes by when any of us don't share or reach out to someone else with something we've found interesting. And also TikTok has brought us the idea, and so is YouTube, of the 10-second advert. So short, impactful messages, and anything which pushes out is really important, because people can always dig down. They just need the headlines, and they need to understand, okay, this is interesting, that's not interesting, and to filter their experience that way. Okay, here's the second question. Which of the following types of technologies in a virtual audience do you think would wow that would be to sort of address what I've just described about your demographic, and would allow you to reach out to them in new ways, maybe ways which would be more like their mentality and day-to-day activities. 90% think, and I would totally agree, it's all the above plus more. I think this is probably barely touching the surface. We're at the start, like Zoom was a start. I believe that this type of interactive technology is a start. But I think one thing that we're all agreeing upon is that we need to get beyond Zoom, and that these types of technologies, and probably some other technologies, will be the way to do that, to link people online and give them a richer experience. I just will say a couple of words about our own experience, because when we started off, we focused mainly on face-to-face meetings, and we'd create interactives online for clients, sort of more as a build-up to an event or a workshop or a congress. But now everything's turned upside down. So I think the advantage we've had is we've been able to test out a lot of these technologies and the usability, the acceptance of these technologies prior to the shift from COVID. And from that, we're happy with our big four. Here's our big four. If I just, there's our big four. We believe that these 4 areas are going to be big, not just from Antares, but you'll see more and more of these types of implementations and types of approaches for companies wanting to engage their customers. They're going to be doing a lot more through mobile, and they're going to be doing it a lot more through live streamings and personalized portals. Okay, so the 4 are interactive 3D and augmented reality product demos, and I'll describe why they're important. We've got mobile VR immersion. I think everyone can agree that the idea of putting on these big goggles, you know, we had a VR chill zone for a client one time, and I remember that everyone loved it. You put on these goggles and you'd go into another relaxing world, and these little messages would float around with the fishes. I don't have this on the show reel, but it's really a fascinating thing. Everyone loved it, but the biggest complaint was that the ladies, their hair was getting messy. They didn't like that so much, but nevertheless, it was better to be doing that than with a coffee and engaging with people. But what we're looking at is Google Cardboard. These Google Cardboards, I'll say more about that in a minute, works on any mobile phone. Just slip that in there. You can brand your cardboard and make it fun. And I think that this is a big one. The other area is probably more traditional. That would be an educational 2 and 3D social gaming. It's always been person-to-person gaming, but we believe that social gaming is going to be the thing. People will be doing it for training. People will be competing with each other. They're going to want to feel that they know more and they've got the key points. The last one for me is really fascinating, and I've got another little secret announcement coming up at the end, an introduction of a collaboration we've just started off, but 360 videos and 3D video engagement is going to be the thing. It's going to be a big thing because people can't get to sites. People can't see sites. They can't, if they're not physically at events, they would just love to be able to sit in and just get a sense of it. What's it look like in the street? What's the weather like down by the river, you know, at a congress center? Or, you know, if there's a karaoke night, what's that looking like? Maybe I can sing along virtually. And so 360 is great. 360 also can be that there are demonstrations. There could be demonstrations of a procedure. There can be, then you can want to see how things are set up. And there can be 3D views to give you sort of almost like the best seat in the house at certain other types of presentation. Oh, I've gone up. I've gone ahead of myself. Okay, so I'll just go briefly through these four modes and how we're applying them. So the idea of interactive 3D is that there's a model on your mobile or on your screen. You can click on it and you can move it around. I've got a show reel I'm going to hold off to the end. Unfortunately, it wasn't ready to put on prime time, but those who wait until question time, I'll run through that and we can have a look at some of these technologies running. I'll send the show reel out later on when it is actually completed. But just imagine that you've got a medical device that you'd like to take a look at or have described to you, or a procedure with a tooth or an implant, or even something with a living cell. You can interact with the screen, select the information you want. It combines with videos and makes a very, very rich experience. You can find the information you want 5 minutes at the station. You can also touch on the mobile and interact with these latest pieces of information, or to learn and interact with things. The other thing which is really important, I've got a great partner, is augmented reality. Because let's say, for example, that you bought this fine green medical device here, and you want to see, wow, what's that going to look like in my lab or in my praxis? With AR, you can project this device onto the surface and see how that's going to look. You can move around it, you can try it in different places. So the virtual becomes pseudo-physical. You can almost reach out and push that now into your own environment and see how that sets down and looks. It's awesome, really awesome. I got to say it myself. The other area, and I mentioned that before, I'll just go over it again, is the idea of getting the best seat in the house. Best seat in the house. You can see things in 360 and 3D up close. You can watch a video where things are described to you, and you can see, even interactively, on a Zoom meeting plus VR, you can look at this, and then you can put the goggles down, you can talk to the presenters, you can talk to the surgeons, you can talk to the demonstrators, and then put the goggles back on, and you're right there with them, like you are the extra person in this room. The other possibility, of course, is just chilling. If you go to a congress, wouldn't it be great if you could just offer like a little chill zone that people can just say, well, I've just been in a congress, I've been looking at stuff all day, I just want to go and see what it's like to skydive in the Bahamas. Maybe they don't want to do that, but if they did want to do that, this would be the place to go, and a very immersive experience. It's relaxing to people. People are going to feel more like chatting. They're going to talk about, they're going to share this with their friends. Interactive social gaming. These can come in a range of different forms. I'm showing two here, one which is a 3D character-based interactive gaming, very colorful, very impactful, and it asks questions, and it's sort of like you're competing against an individual. It could be drier, like an ordinary questionnaire, where things come and presented back, almost like an infomercial, or you can have also retro games. And retro games, a lot of people love retro for some reason. We have the gut racer, and doctors would race around over coffee and race around and see who could find out about what goes on in the gut during inflammation. So, and they'd compete on who got around the fastest and who got the most scores. So it brings out a very human aspect of how people engage with each other, which I think is probably a lot more important now that we can't actually physically meet up. Interactive virtual tours, as I said before, people can become a part of site tours. You can do walkthroughs, you can touch and rotate the screen around, you can interact and explore and share experiences. It can be live streaming video, it can be still pictures, it can be a model which you explore, a building or other structure, click, and you see close-up views of a room or parts of a room. Again, I think when people can't get out to actually see what goes on in production facilities, or they can't get out and see what's going on at congresses or face-to-face meetings, this can really help them become a part of it. And of course, it's got to be multi-channel. So multi-channel, our WOW delivery, our WOW content, which I really think it is, this is such a cool thing. You need to be able to engage on every device, and you need to be able to engage in every channel. Websites and portals, of course, are a very obvious area of delivery. Online congress and training platforms. I'm going to come back to that just a minute, because I had a very interesting project come through just a couple of weeks ago. And I wanted to get your opinion about this. Of course, through mobiles, you can use that directly. There are no apps to install with our delivery system. And Google Cardboard, we believe, is the great way to go for 3D VR 360s on the mobile. You can have them on the flat screen as well. Now to the story. A couple of weeks ago, I got approached by a client who wanted to go to a major congress. And they said, well, we're not sure what to do. And I think that this is a very common thing. We've got to get something there. We've got to get something out there. You did our digital last year. Help us out. And so put a proposal together. This Congress had the traditional, what we see now, the virtual rooms where you can click and walk through. And then they had the trade area and the trade booths. The booths varied, I might add, from 40,000 euros just for the booth to 10,000 euros. And you didn't seem to get a lot of different value from that. And I suggested to them, well, look, there's some real things to think about here. The first is, let's say you paid your $40,000 to get all the bells and whistles and plugged all your stuff in the back. You're locked into that Congress. They're telling you when it is you can give talks, how many talks you can give. They collect all your statistics. You don't get anything back from that. And they collect the statistics from all your competitors as well. I had a very interesting technical discussion with the organizers as I was going through the assessment on behalf of this client. And not only that, you're going to have to pay $40,000 every year, and they may vary things so that the integration, everything at the back end is no good. So I thought to myself, there's got to be a better way to do this. And what I suggested to them was to go for the $10,000 simple one. And then what we would do is plug in a whole virtual world behind, one which not only you pay only once for, but one you could also move between the congresses. For example, the timeline now. If you had your own platform and you could engage speakers leading up to it, you can take polls, you can engage, interact with them, and then the Congress comes, okay, now you've got your KOLs and your special speakers. Just plug that in the back of whatever Congress platform they're offering you. And then after the Congress, you've got two possibilities. The existing Congress can go on with their own whatever for the next 3 months, 6 months, and then kill. But you have always got this platform, your Congress platform, available every Congress and for every year. This idea of how to get people, how to get everything together in hybrid events, this was also from this platform idea I mentioned before, because I do believe that this type of platform engagement is really going to be the future. People will be meeting face-to-face more and more. But there's still going to be a lot of people that are going to, whatever it is that we come up with, whatever it is that we build now, I think that we're all part of this virtual engagement. And a platform that can be, I think, portable, a platform that can be not so complicated, more like Netflix. People like Netflix mentality. This was the vision that was sort of like bubbling in my mind after I was helping that client out. And interestingly, Peter Sibley from WTF Global in Geneva, he gave a presentation. I've got the QR code and the link if people want to take a look at this. If you've not seen it, I was watching his talk and I nearly dropped my coffee cup. He mentioned this idea of a Netflix-style portal. It's a very light portal. They do really incredible things with it. It's highly configurable. You can put in almost anything that you need. They've got all the, and I looked on their website and they say that they're reinventing virtual and hybrid events. And I thought, oh, I must call Peter, which I absolutely did. The next day we were talking, and he showed me that this SHARESTUDIO has been used in very large events. He showed me quite a number of them. Global Vaccine Summit was one. Bojo was on there as well. So the world, WTV Global, they do like huge numbers of events, like 1,000 a year, and this light portal is one of the cornerstones of how it is they get the information out. You can put almost anything in it, and it looks good. I've got the links there if anyone wants to know more information about the portal. But basically, what we're looking at right now is bringing things together, to use this portal as a way to meet the current needs where people have a lot of issues. I was talking to a customer just today who was complaining about doing a marketing meeting on WebEx. The WebEx sound kept dropping out, things weren't working very well. And this platform, this SHARESTUDIO platform and all the infrastructure behind it, it's bulletproof. They work with banks, they work with governments, and they work in Switzerland, which I think is probably the most exciting part. And so I'm really pleased to have them open to the idea to look at bringing these two types of interactivity together. Chris, I think, is here, but if not, his LinkedIn is right there if anyone wants to talk with Chris about the product. But I'm really excited about this, and we're going to be making some announcements in Switzerland and Basel on the French side over the next few weeks and months. And I'll put that also on the LinkedIn company page, update you there, and show some demonstrations. Okay, conclusions. Summary and conclusions. I think that we could all agree that COVID has permanently transformed the events landscape. There's no question about it. And if we are to believe the current thinking, around 80% of our audiences are going to be virtual. So virtual, it's always going to be a significant part. Understanding and engaging with virtual audiences, it's the key to future events. I think that we're all on the same page with that from the comments that were made earlier. It's a question of how to excite these audiences and engagement, making things more human, making things special for them, making things available for people in much the same way as established online platforms outside of healthcare and outside of events. I think we can really draw upon quite a lot. We know also in interactive content, it's something that we do. It matches audience online habits. You can use it socially, and right now it's fair to say it's mostly missing. Other platforms have it. It's mostly missing currently with Zoom. Interactive platforms such as SHARESTUDIO, which I'm personally very excited about working on, meet these audiences' needs. Not fully, but certainly I think move things along and meet some of these needs today. That's it. I'd like to thank you. If anyone would like to contact me, I'm more than happy to discuss needs you might have. I'm at to brainstorm with you and to help share some experiences that we've got. Maybe we can also help each other come along. If you're on LinkedIn, the QR code's there. I'd be happy. Please, if you want to be in touch, connect with me. Straight on LinkedIn is the best channel. And with that, I'd like to thank Amy again. Thank everyone for joining here this afternoon, and I'd like to open up for some questions and some discussion.